Hey guys, I'm finally back. Yes, finally with the part 4 of the all-wheel drive Civic. So basically in this section or video or whatever you want to call it, you're going to be seeing what I've been up to, what I've accomplished on the car, and I guess just bring you up to date of what's been going on, of all the bull crap and some things that I've broken. But I guess we'll just hop right in it so you guys can see. If you last remembered, I was making the mounts, and I actually had one of my friends fabricating the rear T-bracket for me, and also an intermediate shaft adapter, which just took him a little bit to get to it. So that's why you really haven't seen the part 4, which is going to be this. But yeah, now he's actually finished the T-bracket, and he's trying to get the intermediate shaft bracket done for me today so I could pick it up by the end of the day. So I thought I might as well start. So here's the T-bracket he made for me. We made it out of 3/16 wall on this guy, and he's got a sweet little logo, CF, for constant fabrication. But yeah, it's made out of 3/16s. He cut it on his CNC plasma, and yeah, he catted it with me there, and it came out pretty sweet. I still have to drill the holes, the 3 holes that are going to be here. I didn't want him to do that on the template. I just wanted to make sure that I do it myself with the car here, you know, so I just feel more comfortable that way. So what I got to do is I'm probably going to somehow figure out to mock up the template, how the motor's sitting right now, and make sure that the holes are lined up. And maybe I'll transfer him to this, and I'll drill out the holes, and hopefully it all fits together. But then I will also, after that, I got this like textured paint that I'm just going to spray all over the mounts that I'm making, so it's not rusting like it already is. And once I get this guy done, I have obviously the manifold still to put on. It's kind of dirty. It's been sitting for months now, so I got to do that. I got to replace this line. I'm probably going to replace both of them, actually. There's another one over here for the coolant lines. I'm going to replace the lines themselves and 2 of the fittings, because I noticed one of these fittings was leaking. I believe it's actually this one. So I'm going to replace the fittings, replace the line. So I got that stuff right here. And like I said, I'm still waiting on the bracket for the intermediate. And also, I got a new wastegate. Not because my old one broke or anything. It's a tile as well, just like my old one was, but this one's just a black one because I don't know, I wanted it to match all the other stuff that's on my car that's black, that's pretty much the accent color of the car. And the previous wastegate I had on here was one of the silver ones, which I already went ahead and sold. So I'm going to be putting a spring in that, mounting that guy on there, putting the manifold on the motor, painting the mounts, and making sure the motor's in there. And once I get the intermediate, I can throw the axles in it, make sure it's got fluids and gas, because I still haven't even put gas in it. So I'm gonna get to it, and hopefully it'll be done soon. I got my sweet template that I made here, and this is what my actual bracket's modeled after. And I already transferred the holes, and I started drilling one of the holes all the way through, but I have to stop and give the drill a break constantly because it just gets too hot and it starts literally smoking. So in the meantime, I'm gonna, I guess, just throw the manifold on while I let that cool off for maybe like 5-10 minutes, because it's just smoking and I don't want to go buy another drill. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this first. So I got the holes drilled, and I just really quick threw it in here, and I had to take off. There's this little aluminum bracket that holds this the shifter cables, which is over here. I had to pull it off because it's just getting in the way on the back side, so I might have to shave it or trim it down, whatever I gotta do to make this thing fit in there. It's gonna be a pain probably, but it's in there right now. The holes are lining up, like, well, the top one, and there's 3 on the bottom. I'll show you. There they are. And you got this bottom left one right there that's kind of not lining up so well, so I'm gonna, I guess, just take the step bit, make it a little bit bigger, because somehow that got fucked up. So I'll do that. After I do that, I'm probably just gonna clean this thing and paint it, and also that other mount, but it's kind of getting dark, so I don't think I'll get much further than that for today, so I'll have to pick up on it tomorrow. But alright, so it is the next day. But I did spray my brackets last night and let them dry. This white stuff is just like cardboard that got stuck to it because it was still wet when I turned it around. I think I could wash it off, but still pretty happy. It's like this wrinkled black finish. It's actually just like truck bed coating. And I've used it before and I really like it because it just holds up really well, and I don't know, I kind of like the finish on the brackets. So I'm going to be putting the bushing back in this, and I'm going to throw them back on the car. So it is the next day, but I did spray my brackets last night and let them dry. This white stuff is just like cardboard that got stuck to it because it was still wet when I turned it around. I think I could wash it off, but still pretty happy. It's like this wrinkled black finish. It's actually just like truck bed coating. And I've used it before and I really like it because it just holds up really well, and I don't know, I kind of like the finish on the brackets. So I'm going to be putting the bushing back in this, and I'm going to throw them back on the car. Alright, so I just want to show you guys, I got the mounts in. There's the back one. And here's the transmission one. But yeah, those are in. The motor's actually in. It's solid. So now what I'm doing is it's just getting little stuff, like I put on the distributor back on it because I had used it for another car because I just wanted to make sure that the distributor was fucked up on someone else's car. And I'm just like buttoning up little stuff, like I got the lines, like the fuel lines, just throttle cable, little junk like that, and I got to do the wastegate and the radiator next. But before I do the radiator, I'm gonna have to extend my harness that I made previously, my charge harness, which is this. I got my starter 12 volt and my starter signal, so I gotta extend those. So I'll first start probably by sticking the wastegate on because I just don't feel like doing wiring right now, and I kind of feel ashamed of cutting this harness because it came out really good even if it's old. But yeah, I'm going to show you what I got to do with the wastegate. The wastegate I previously showed you, and what I got to do is put a spring in it because right now it doesn't even have one in it. Yeah, so I got to look at the charts and see what spring to use, but I'm thinking of throwing like around an 8-pound spring in it, and from there I'll ramp up the boost using the electric solenoid on the computer, because I'm probably just gonna, I was thinking maybe doing 7 psi and first, maybe second, but yeah, doing that. Then I'm eventually gonna ramp it up, which fourth and fifth for sure will be 26 pounds. But I mean, that's kind of stuff that you kind of do as you go. But yeah, I'm gonna start by taking this bastard apart and putting a spring in it. Pull the bolts off, and I got the cap off the wastegate. And I looked at the chart, and it's showing that the black spring, which is kind of hard to see, but yeah, there we go. This one is for like 8.6 or 8.7 psi. So I'm gonna stick this in there, and hopefully I hit the area of 7 to 8 pounds, maybe 9, but preferably 7. But yeah, I'm gonna stick this in there. I gotta like compress it all the way down and run the bolts down, and I should be able to mount the wastegate next. I got the wastegate all installed, and I have the vacuum lines all orientated, and the plugs are in. So that's all in. I also threw in the radiator. That's in there. And all I pretty much have left is extending the starter wires and the shifter cables. So I have this bracket that holds the shifter cables, and it's just a really tight fit back here because of just the harness, the T-bracket, that's just perfectly in the way. And the problem being is there's 3 bolts holding this bracket down. One over here, there's one there, and we got one that's underneath the bracket. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to mark it out, and I'm gonna basically drill a hole big enough for the socket and the bolt to fit right through it. Just an access hole. So I'm gonna do that. I gotta mark it out, but I gotta pull it back off. I'm gonna have to drill the hole, and just because I don't want it to be bare metal, I'm gonna probably just clean it off and respray it just so it doesn't rust. And then I should be able to get the bracket on and get the 2 heater core hoses hooked up. And this just, it's a mil spec, so it just spins right on. And I got also the speed gear, just like a bunch of little stuff, just a little corner of cluster. Okay, so here's where I'm at today, and I've gotten this little aluminum bracket that holds the shifter cables in place. I got it in. I actually had to make an access hole on top of my T-bracket and respray it to get to one of the bolts down there. But it's in, it's tight. I'm waiting for some clips or one of my friends to get back and see if he has them, or if not, I'm gonna make them. But there's that. I also have to still extend these starter cables, and what I'm working on currently is the intermediate bracket, which I'll show you what I have going on. Okay, so as you can see, I've had a plate made right here and the same plate made on this side, which bolts to the intermediate, and all I'm doing is spacing this out in an angle just because the bolt holes don't line up perfectly. They're actually like 3/8 of an inch off, and I really don't want to oblong the holes on the intermediate because I just don't think that's the best idea. So I'm going to space it out like that, and then I have this little spacer that's going to sit in here and between the 2 brackets, and it's going to hold it. And I have another smaller one that's going over there. So what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna tack it up so I can pull it out and weld it all together, and just probably spray some paint on it, and then I could put it in and stick the axles in. But I'll show you what I got once I weld it up. Here's the bracket. It's welded, and I sprayed it with some bed liner coating from the can. It's the same stuff I used on the motor mounts. And here you can see how I did it. This is basically a template of the intermediate, and it's on both sides. So for on this side, I had to put a sliver in it because there's not enough room for the bolt to go in, like this one. And I didn't want to sliver this one as well because I didn't want to like mess up like potentially the dowel alignment, or I don't know. I should have really just cut it just like this one. And the welds aren't the coolest. But yeah, I mean, it could always be redone. It's just I want this thing done. But yeah, there's that. So I'm gonna mount this on the car and pop the axle in finally. Put back together, and everything's fitting pretty good. You still have a bit of clearance in between the filter and the bracket, and every bolt runs in just fine. It's a little bit of a pain, but it's kind of hard to see. But I was able to get them all in. Got the intermediate and the axle on. Everything's tightened up, and I've already done this side. So next thing's gonna be, I need to put some oil in this guy. Alright, so I got it topped off with oil, but then my dumb ass realized I put a new fuel tank in it and it doesn't have gas. So I guess I gotta go get some E85 or E60 or whatever the hell it is. I don't even know, but I'll go get some of that stuff and I'll be right back. Alright, so I still have to jump it with my truck, so I have it all over there. There's the loud Bosch 44. Fire it right up. And it dies cold. Doesn't really like the cold start a whole lot right now. And the check engine light is because my air temp sensor is unhooked, because it's on my cold side of the charge pipe, and it's not on there currently. So that could be something to do with that why it also dies, but I mean, I've done it before and it stayed on. Could be just tune. Not quite sure right now, but yeah, she runs. Let's see if I could try to let it idle by itself. Nope. Just let it warm up for a second. It's to be idling by itself, so let's get out of this thing.